Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Morning Coffee Talks. Man, it is Thursday. It's been a long week so far, but not a bad week. I just been a little tired this week. But just because I'm just been going hard, man. Not a bad week though. But we here, right? We're gonna keep pushing. We're gonna keep hitting them goals. Right, because we basically just started the third month of the year. I did a video about that yesterday, just kind of checking in to see where everyone was. But man, I came across a word yesterday that I knew existed, but I didn't really understand what it meant. And this is gonna bring me into today's video, and that word is dogma. Dogma. Man, I don't know why this word I came across this word and I never knew what it meant, right? But when I looked it up, it really brought a lot of stuff home for me. It really touched my spirit because I think this has kind of been my mind state for a long time and just a part of my personality actually that I didn't know represented me. And that's basically it brought into the question how I used to think, and I still think even now. But are you living on your own? Are you living your life on your own terms, right? Or are you trapped by somebody else's belief? And so I want to dive into dogma, right? The belief and rules that society, culture, or even your family has placed on you and or us that we're set without question. Man, that indoctrination, right? And I think with anything, right, there's a yin and a yang. But I think regardless, there's a question to ask yourself, are your beliefs truly yours? Or what is just something that was handed down to you, right? Traditions, cultural values. And again, I'm not here to say right or wrong, but I want you to question things, right? To start to change your mind state, to shift your mind state. If what you were taught doesn't work for you, right? It doesn't make you successful. It keeps you trapped mentally, right? Have you ever challenged what you were told that was right or wrong, right? What would your life look like if you broke free from limiting beliefs? Right? I definitely know that this is a conversation about awakening self-awareness and taking control of your own mind. So I really want to, like I said, jump into dogma or whatever. But again, most people aren't living their own lives, right? They're just following the script that somebody else wrote for them, which is very powerful, man. And I think everybody, for the most part, and again, I'm generalizing, right? Start off kind of on this same concept. Like as kids, right? We talk from our parents, we talk from our community, we talk from our family about navigating the world, and we kind of on a lot of stuff we question without really understanding how to research or to kind of doing our own background research on it to make sure that what we're being taught is true. And so I think this is a lot of times while we, as a teenager, we go through the teenage years where we're quote unquote being rebellious. I think it's just a questioning of what we were taught, right? And as we get into adulthoods, some of that stuff does 360. We go, oh, you know what? They were actually right. But a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff that we're taught when we're younger is just, it's not true, right? Or it doesn't help us because it's so outdated information and the approach and the beliefs and things that we have to redefine our mind state on what we need to be successful and to break free of a lot of things we were taught that we believe that really limits us to be successful, right? Here's some few examples, right? different generations went through different times. Like right now, a 9 to 5 job now isn't a way to be successful. It's just not. The companies aren't loyal as they used to be, right? You, you don't get the value from staying at a job for 20 years like you used to, right? If you stay at a job, you damn near, if you stay in there 5 years, somebody else is coming in and making what you making, right? So at that point, for the 5 years it took you to get to that point, and then somebody come in with that at that point, you basically lost 5 years of value if you look at it that way, right? When it comes to marriage, I did a video response the other day talking about how basically traditional marriage is now the exception, not the rule. Modern marriages are now the rule and not the exception. So marriage even has to be looked at a certain way now, in our society here in America, at least, right? I think that man not showing emotion, right? Or we should be emotionless. Man, it was, well, let me finish that thought. That man should always be tough and emotionless, right? I think that's wrong, right? I understand the mind state behind it, but to not have any emotions, right? To always like, hey, you can't cry, this and that. Yeah, this was I was talking when I was growing up, right? But I just came across something else that I didn't even know about. Something called stoicism, right? To be stoic. Like I just ordered a book on I think it's Marcellius. I forgot the author name, but it's an old emperor, and I just came across some information on that, man. It's crazy how the more you're on your journey, more things start to be revealed to you, right? And I can't wait to dive into that. But it's some teachings of I think Marcus Aurelius or something like that. I literally just came across this yesterday, but I ordered his book from Amazon. I started reading into that, understand more about how to be more stoic and things. And so, anyway, the whole point is, those are a couple of different examples on, especially for men, that we were taught that doesn't align technically with today's circumstances, right? And we have to know, again, not to say it right or wrong, but we now have to change our mind state and our approach on that dogma belief, right? Of 9 to 5 is the only way to be successful. Marriage has to look this way or that way. Man should always be tough and not have emotions or show emotion, be emotionless, right? We have to get away from dogma, man. Or at least question it, our beliefs and what we were taught, because if we don't, then it creates a comfortable mind state and it limits our personal growth, right? You live in a box, you put your mind in a box, you live in this box that somebody else built for you. And I get it, right? People that love us want us to be safe in this life. They want us to give us some tools and say, all right, go out there and be safe, live life. I get it. However, life isn't made to be safe, right? It's crazy out here. And you can just look in nature. Nobody's safe, right? And so knowing that you hopefully get tools from your family, your parents, and people, people you go through life to help you protect yourself, but that don't mean you safe, right? And so, and I'm even talking metaphorically and physically, right? So, but again, not questioning your beliefs also discourages critical thinking when it comes to religion, right? When it comes to, again, these different cliches we were taught, right? These different cultural norms we were taught. Because here's another thing. Me growing up, I was taught about racism my whole life, right? Man, white folks this, white folks that. Dude, I had so many white friends. I had a dude I grew up with, literally my neighbor, my boy Josh, man. I love him to death. He came to my wedding too. We grew up together. I never got racism from Josh, right? Bro, we was in the same struggle. We was in the same neighborhood, the same income gap, right? The same problems. He had a problem with his mom that wasn't there, right? He lived with his grandparents, right? He was raised by his papa. God rest his R.I.P. to his papa. But I say that to say, as I get old and I look back, were there some people that was probably ignorant? Yeah. But I wouldn't say racist. But I say this to say, I'm not gonna say that people quote unquote can't be racist. I would say it's more classism than racism out there. That's my belief, right? But growing up, you would have thought it was more racist. I didn't even know about classism, right? But that was me shifting my mind state to say, hey, the white folks that I came across wasn't racist to me. And again, everybody has their own experiences, right? But for the majority, I've traveled a lot of places around this world, in the U.S. and outside the U.S., right? What I've seen constantly, more than racism, is classism, right? The haves and the have-nots. And so for me, even like, especially here in Atlanta, black folks got money. We have money. But the ones who have money, they ain't coming back to the hood to give back and stuff like that, because their mind state, once they got money, their mind state shifted and said, okay, these people over here, they're stuck in a certain dogma, right? Their mind state is stuck in a certain dogma. They're in a box. They can't, because their environment also limits their belief, because it's the same habits and the same cultural norms in the hood, right? And I won't go into that, what that look like, but we know it. A lot of that stuff is true. Not 100%, but most of the stuff you see is true, right? I come from it, I know. But that dogma, it has limited belief from folks in the hood, and so they stay in the same routines, right? It discourages critical thinking. People don't think, they just do. But with all that being said, when you don't question your beliefs and your critical thinking, it's going to lead to regretment and resentment. And what happens is you're going to realize too late that you lived somebody else's life, or a version of life, right? Or you live vicariously, or I don't know about vicariously. I think it ties in a little bit, but anyway, you live somebody else's version of life or success, right? And that's just people who allow themselves to cave to social pressure when it comes to careers, again, family traditions, marriage. In the end of the day, they feel trapped, right? So I think at some point we have to question, why do I believe this? Who told me that this was truth? Test those beliefs outside of what you were taught. Figure a way to test them. Actually read the Bible if you're a Christian. I remember when I was like probably 17, 18 reading. I didn't read the whole thing, but from what I was being taught, again, my mind was already on this at a young age, right? Like what I'm going to church and I'm getting these lessons, but am I going back to follow up inside the book and say, okay, is what I was taught, number one, true, and does it hold up in my life? Does it work for my life, right? And again, this isn't to say the Bible's right or wrong. I'm not going into that. But what I'm saying is challenge your mind, challenge your beliefs, right? Just follow up on information. Do your own research to make sure that it holds true to you, right? Live on and create your own values and live on your own values. Decide what's right for you. I'm not saying what your parents or your family or your culture or your friends taught you were all wrong. But what I'm saying is, does it hold up for you? Right? Or you just living by what they told you 100%, or you figuring out what's right for you? Because if you don't, again, you're living on somebody else's belief that they made for you. You're living in somebody else's box, and that's dogma, right? Again, dogma. But look, understand it's okay to change, to evolve, even if other people don't understand, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your life. It's your life, man. You have to, at some point, you have to grow up. If what you were taught holds true, cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep rolling. But at some point, you have to live your own life, man. We have to grow up. We have to mature. We have to actually become adults in this life. All right? So again, you don't have to live life by somebody else's rules, right? The moment you start questioning dogma is the moment you start truly living. So anyway, man, drop a comment below. Subscribe to the Husband Code if it's your first time. If you've been watching for a while, subscribe. Also, if you got any value from this video, hit that like button. And also, we dropping videos like this every single day. So hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. And with that, I appreciate you guys. Much love. Peace.